Okay, in this video for the Roku, we're just going to basically show you how you can set it up from scratch. When you get your Roku, okay, you'll plug it into the mains and you'll hook it up to your TV and things like that, and that's fine. But you have to go through a few other stages before you can actually get it working and activate it so you can access all its features, okay? And if you don't do these, your Roku just simply won't work. It won't let you do anything you want it to do until you have all these steps completed, okay? So the first thing we'll deal with is what it's going to go through. So the first thing is it's going to try and connect itself to the internet. The next stage then is it's going to check its servers, basically its own servers, to see if there's any additional software or updates, you know, for the Roku itself. And the third section then is it's going to activate your Roku, okay? And what that wants to do basically at that stage is it wants to tie that box to you. So it knows if you're adding channels that later on that might cost money or something like that, that it's you that's actually doing it, and basically you get billed for it and things like that. But an awful lot of the channels are free, so I mean there's plenty to be working away with on the Roku without even adding the pay channels, okay? So the first thing is we're going to deal with connecting to the internet. And the thing about this is there's two actual Rokus currently available in the UK and Ireland, and I'm talking now in March 2012. There's the lower cost one that only does or has wireless access on it, okay, for your broadband, and the more expensive one has wired and wireless, okay? Now there's pros and cons to both. Obviously, from if you're watching the likes of Netflix on your Roku and things like that, you're probably better off to be using it with wired broadband, okay? Things with wireless, things can interfere and things like that, especially over a long distance. So just to be aware of that. But you know, the one that's wireless only, it is cheaper, and in my own house I've tested that and it actually works quite well. But it's just something to consider when you're actually doing it, okay? Now, the thing is, what we'll do, at the moment I have got the Roku that actually has the wired and wireless plugged in. That's the more expensive one, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the setup process here, okay? So the first thing it says is press OK to continue, and we'll do that. Now it's going to ask me, am I going to connect to a wireless network or a wired network? Now, okay, for demonstration purposes of this video, I'm going to do the wired one, but I'm just going to go into wireless first and show you what you would have to do. So it's looking for a wireless network and it's picking up a couple there. So if you showed, you know, if this was your house, you would have your own number there. This thing, what the numbers you can see there are called an SSID. And if you clicked into that and pressed OK, it would ask you to enter your network password, and this is usually written on the underneath of the router that you might have in your hall, you know, for the broadband or something like that. If it's not, you'll have to contact your broadband provider and ask them how you can find out which it is. But an awful lot of them these days, they have a little sticker underneath it with the network password, and you can use the up, down, left and right and things like that, you know, to do the password. And when you're finished, then you simply go down to connect and you press OK, and it'll connect to your wireless and you can continue on from that point. But I'm just going to exit out of that for now. So I actually have it plugged into my broadband, so I'm going to go wired. Okay, so it just goes through there, detecting Ethernet connection, connecting to your local network, connecting to the internet. So it just takes a few moments. Okay, so the next section then is just, you tell it basically where you are. So we're in Europe, and just find Ireland there, and you can pick whatever clock format you want, okay? And then you arrow down and go next. Now, this is the most important thing here now, okay? When you first plug in your Roku and you go through all the stages here, what you're going to get at the end of it is this activation code. Okay, so the code changes every single time that you turn on the machine, okay? You know, just say I chose not to register it now. The next time I turn on the machine to go and do it, that code would be different, okay? But the most important thing here is what you have to do is you need to go to your laptop or computer and you need to type in roku.com/link, and it'll bring you to a page where you type that code in, okay? And what that does is the first part of the activation for your Roku. After you're finished, after you type in that code on your laptop or PC, the next page that will come up will ask you to register. Okay, so you'll go in there on the Roku website and you'll just basically create an account. So, you know, you can call yourself, you know, just say your name's Paddy Murphy. You give your name, address, phone number, things like that, and your email. The thing about it is when you're in there, you have to give them your credit card details. Okay, now they don't take any charge off it, but why you give them details is at some stage you may want to add a channel onto this Roku that is a paid channel. And if it's a paid channel, they need to be able to bill you. And if they have your credit card on file, you can be automatically billed. But you will not receive any bill or any charge for any free channel, which there's loads of with the Roku, or they just will not charge you indiscriminately for using it or anything like that. It's only if you buy a paid channel on the Roku. The other thing to be aware of is when you're registering the Roku, now I'm speaking specifically about Ireland here, the UK have no problem with this because they actually have postcodes. If this is something we just noticed ourselves when we went to register, if you go to register on the Roku website and you put in your name and address here in Ireland, and as you know yourself, we've no postcodes. If you leave the postcode blank, it won't allow you to register. So how I got it to register me was I put in 6 zeros. I just, you know, that was my postcode and it accepted me straight away. So it's just to be aware of that. It'll just make the process go smoother for you, and that's it. So after you do that registration, after you enter that code on the Roku website and then you register yourself as a user and you input your credit card details, again I'd say you're not charged for doing that. It's only if you buy a paid channel at a later date. But after you have that done, after you have the code entered and you register, and that's successfully registered, you can see on the screen there it says screen updates automatically upon activation. When you have that done, that screen will change. It all happens automatically as long as you're connected to the internet, and it knows that box you have now is tied to you and you own it. So, and that's basically it. Now, just another thing that you might notice that I didn't show in this video, I wasn't able to show because I have it done already, is when you first plug in your Roku, you're probably going to have to do a firmware update, okay? And this will do it automatically. What it'll do is it's just going to download software from the Roku servers and install it on your machine. It takes maybe a couple of minutes, but it all is done automatically. So just be patient, and it'll definitely, you know, the updates are there for your benefit, you know, to increase functionality and things like that. So if it does come up for you, which it probably will if you buy a brand new one, just let it happen and then just wait for it to tell you what to do next and things like that. But basically this video shows you all the main points as regards registering the Roku itself. Okay, so that's basically it from beginning to end, how you can activate your Roku.
Thanks for joining me online. I'm Kevin Hurd, here again to introduce you to another fantastic Christmas gift that you're going to want to make sure you get on your list this holiday season. Today I'm going to be showing you a gift that you can fit in the palm of your hand. It's called a Roku box. These things are about $40 to $80 depending upon which version you get. They allow you to stream television shows through Netflix, Hulu, Crackle, Amazon, other types of internet streaming services from this little box using Wi-Fi to your television set. And they're a great way that you can even save some money as well. In fact, I just recently cut my cable bill not that long ago, saving me about $80 a month, and now use this Roku box to get all my programming. Let me go ahead and show you a few features of the Roku box. It uses an HDMI output, and that's going to allow you to get your shows from this box to the TV. It also has an AV out if you don't have a high definition television. Now let's go ahead and talk about the setup of the Roku box. It's very, very easy to do and something that anybody with a little bit of television and internet experience can handle. What you're first going to do is go ahead and connect the HDMI cord to the back of the Roku box. The other end of the cord is going to go to the back of your television set to one of the HDMI inputs. Your TV may have a few different HDMI inputs, so make sure to take note of which one you put it in. From there, you'll go ahead and turn on your television set. You might have to channel through a couple of the inputs and find the HDMI input that has the Roku box connected to it. From there, you're going to go ahead and plug the power cable from the back of the Roku box into the wall, and momentarily you'll see the Roku box power up on your television set. Once the Roku box loads, you're going to see an on-screen menu that's going to provide you with a variety of different channels that you can go to. Some of these do require a subscription and you have to pay monthly. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But first, let's go ahead and get your Roku set up. You're going to go ahead and navigate to the Roku Player Settings menu. From there, you're going to go ahead and go down to Network. This is where you're going to connect to the Wi-Fi network. This is also important to note too that the Roku does use Wi-Fi to connect to the internet to get all these shows. So you do need to have a router in your house or some type of Wi-Fi connection around you. And then you're going to go ahead and go to wireless. That's where you're going to search for your network. So from there, search for your network, find it, enter in the passwords that you need to get on, and you are good to go. Now, there are a couple other things you'll need to do. You can go to display type to set what type of television you have. If you don't have an HD television, you might want to bring your display standard down to about 4:3 or 16:9. Audio mode you can also change as well, and then of course if you need to change any languages and the time zones, that can be done as well. Now from this point on, you can go ahead and go back to the main menu. This is where you can access all the different channels that Roku has to offer. Pandora is a free one, Disney is a free one. You've got the Facebook channel where you can go ahead and look at people's pictures and videos that are part of your feed. Now some other ones that you have to pay for include Hulu Plus as well as Netflix. I'm going to go ahead and take you into Netflix real quick. Now I've already signed into Netflix at this point. You'll have to have a Netflix account, you'll have to sign in, but let me just give you a little look at how the Netflix program looks. You can see here that you've selected some of your favorite shows within Netflix already. You can browse through those, the ones that are part of your QUI. From there, you can also go down here. Netflix recommends some top 10s for you, popular shows on Netflix, documentaries, comedies, movies, etc., etc. And it's going to use your internet connection to watch that particular movie or that particular show. The channel options that you have with a box like the Roku are virtually endless. You can see there's many channels in here. And as I mentioned, many of these different channels are free. We have the channel store that you can go into right here when you do have the Roku. This takes you to a listing of all the different channels they offer. Many of these, again, are free. Like I said, some of them you do have to pay for. You can see in here you have things like Fox News, MoviePhone, Pandora, as I mentioned. A few more niche channels too. You've got some game networks, movie networks in here, religion, sports, science and technology. It really absolutely runs the gamut in all these different channels that you can have with a box like the Roku system. And again, like I said, a little box like this does run you anywhere between $40 to $80 a month. It does include a remote as well, which makes browsing very easy. And there are other boxes that can do this too. Roku is not the only one. We've put some of those boxes up on our website as well at kevintalkstech.com if you do want to check those out. Again, I'm Kevin Hurd. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you again next time for another product review.
Global TV Live là hệ thống truyền hình đầu tiên của người Việt trên toàn thế giới qua đại công ty quốc tế Roku với hơn 800 đài ngoại quốc và 10 đài Việt ngữ phục vụ cộng đồng người Việt khắp nơi trong mọi lĩnh vực, từ tin tức đến văn nghệ giải trí, từ văn hóa đến lịch sử, tôn giáo, đời sống và nhất là với CNBC TV, một chương trình mua sắm ngay tại nhà 24/24, đặc biệt với CNBC xem phim truyện, với VMTV gồm nhiều chương trình ca nhạc sống động, với karaoke dành cho mọi lứa tuổi. Với thế hệ trẻ sẽ giúp con em của quý vị học tiếng Việt và nói tiếng Việt trong những lúc bận rộn mà quý vị không thể săn sóc được. Hãy gọi ngay 1714 539 2999 hoặc số miễn phí 1888 823 2226